So we've talked about how this approach to children requires very different adults, and that our role as adults working with children is to function as a servant to their development. So we've talked a bit about what it takes to be a good servant and how do we do that in the classroom. So one way we do that is that we try to be somewhat unobtrusive. We observe the children, we interact and connect with them, we help to get them excited about a concept or a presentation, and then we pull back. It's not about us. It's not that teacher in front of the classroom, getting all of the children's attention all the time. We have to be sure we're offering just what children need and nothing more, because if we do too much, we take away that discovery for themselves. So we have to be unobtrusive in the classroom. We have to be observant. So we know observation is a key part of our work as guides in the classroom with children. And we have to be certain that that's just part of our approach every day, that we are observing, taking note of what we see, and thinking of ways we can respond to our observations. That's the only way we will know how to give a child exactly what they need when they need it, is through our careful observations. Our attitude is really important in our approach to children. So we have to be pleasant. We have to be accessible. We have to emanate love and respect for every child in our classroom. So you could have had a fight with your spouse in the morning, your car broke down, all of that, and you're feeling a lot of emotion as you arrive at work on a given day. When you walk through the classroom door, your job is to let those emotions go and be fully focused in the present to serve children, and to do so with love and respect and a positive attitude around them. This takes some real practice to really center ourselves in the present to serve children, but it can be actually really a powerful experience for you to be able to let go of the rest of your life and really focus on this time where you're serving children's development. Part of our role too, through our study, so to become a Montessori guide, you have to do some really in-depth study of child development and of all the ways we can respond to their needs. And then we have to be able to anticipate those in the classroom. We want to know almost before a child displays a need that they need it and offer something to them. We want to be sure to remove obstacles that we can see will get in the way of their development. I'm not saying that we're trying to make the path really smooth and easy all the time for them, but we want to remove things that are really going to stop them from optimal development. We want to keep in mind that sometimes we ourselves can be that obstacle. So I had a child once who came to my classroom at age 6 not reading. And we worked on his reading pretty intensively for 2.5 years. And he made tiny little bits of progress. But by spring break of his 3rd year, he and his parents and I were getting ready to consider other options because he really wasn't making progress. And he asked at spring break if he could take the classroom copy of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone home to read over spring break. And I almost said, no, you can't read that. But I stopped myself and I let him take it home. And by the time he came back from spring break, he was halfway through the book for the 2nd time. Reading had clicked in place finally for him. And I very nearly stopped that from happening. We can't let ourselves be the obstacle to their development. We have to be really careful that we're removing obstacles and keeping ourselves from becoming one. Humility is an important characteristic that Montessori guides have to possess. This work, as I said, is not about us. It's about the children. And in fact, we aren't the cause of their learning. We're not making learning happen. Remember, no one can make learning happen because it happens inside someone else's head. That learning is the child's. And I witnessed this once in my own classroom where I watched a child leave materials behind and do multiplication on paper in front of me. He taught himself to do that multiplication work. I showed him how to use the flat bead frame. He taught himself to multiply on paper. That's humbling to witness, and it's something we have to remember. We're just lucky enough to serve development. That's a powerful sort of experience we get to have, but we aren't at the center of it. The child is. And we have to approach children with humility and respect, not as this authority who knows everything. No, humility is the key to our approach with children. So one way that we do this, that we embody all of this, is the way we approach children is to offer them keys. Margaret Stevenson talked about how, our job is to offer keys. We're not taking children in the door and on a guided tour. When we present or offer new items of knowledge to the children, it is to function just like a key. That means we're unlocking the door for the children's exploration. If we do too much, if we tell too much, they stop listening and they don't get to learn it for themselves. What we want is to unlock a door for them, get them excited and engaged so that they do the exploration and they do the learning. So we have to remember that's the way we approach children, by offering keys, not by dragging them on a guided tour, not by making sure they learn everything we just told them, but instead offering keys that ignite curiosity and exploration so that the children will learn. And we all know when we learn something ourselves, when we discover it ourselves, it's so much more powerful than someone else telling us. We have to be very careful about the amazing tools we have to offer the children because they are materials for auto education. That means we are connecting children to those gorgeous materials we have in the classroom so that they can teach themselves. We are not using those materials as teaching tools for our didactic approach. That's not how we do things. We're showing them how to use a material so that they can teach themselves whenever the learning happens as they work with the materials. So it's very easy to start thinking about what we have to offer as a checklist of a curriculum that we're just going to push children through on our timetable. But in fact, all of the materials, all of the lessons we have to offer are ways we can support a child's self-construction, and the children will do the learning on their timetable. And of course, we can nurture that and support it when we need it to move along a little faster, or we can, rush to keep up with a child that's ready to zoom through something. But we aren't going to turn at what we have to offer children into a curriculum that is dosed out. Instead, it is something that children get to move freely through as meets their needs in their development. As we think about how we work in the classroom with children, and we think about how we offer keys and then allow the sort of culture to take over of work and follow-up work, one thing we have to remember is that we are not assigning. So we are not going to tell a child after we give them a lesson the exact work we expect them to do. Because in so doing, we close off the imagination and exploration. Let me give you an example. I had a group of children once who I gave a lesson on circumference. So we had those, we had metal insets of circles that we rolled out. We measured that, that circumference to the diameter to derive the formula. And I asked them what they thought they might do to practice this knowledge of circumference and to practice, calculating it. And they said, oh, they'll figure something out. And here's what they did. They traced a number of different circles onto beautiful paper. They calculated the circumferences of those circles and wrote their calculations on the circle. And then they cut strings the length of the circumference and hung those circles with their corresponding circumference strings from a mobile. I would never have been able to assign such an amazing activity. I would not have thought of that. But because I let the children free to think about how they wanted to display their knowledge, they were able to do that. They were able to come up with a very creative idea of creating a lovely circumference mobile in the classroom. This is what we have to cultivate and nourish in the children. They're going to need ideas for follow-up periodically. You're going to have to, help cultivate the opportunities for a variety of things to practice and show their knowledge, but we want to leave the choice up to them.